What's up, everyone? The Panda Photographer here, and I want to bring up this topic about ISO. Um, Now, on a crop sensor camera, ISO can be a little bit intimidating for some that are using crop sensors because you guys don't want to push it that much. But for me, I push the envelope. So I'm going to start off with some of these images. ISO 100 and work my way up. So with that said, let's try let me just make sure the live stream is actually going well as we are trying to. Why is it doing it? Oh man, this is the wrong thumbnail for all this crap. All right, guys, so I'm going to change the thumbnail and I'm going to change everything around anyway. But anyway, I want to demonstrate why I push my ISOs up to 3200 when I'm doing micro photography. But I just want to give you guys a sense of the A77 Mark II is actually fixed. I made a video about how I spent money on getting the stabilization that was stuck. This is why the camera wouldn't turn on. Got it fixed. But this is an image taken at Baskin Hill or Baskin Hall on top of the campus where Lincoln's head is. So I stood there about 40 minutes waiting for this amazing capture. And I just wanted to show you guys what this looked like before. This image was incredible. It looks incredible, as you can see, right? You can see that it looks. Oh wow, that's not how I thought it would look like. But let me just reset it for you all you guys so you guys have a better understanding. This is how it was before. I was underexposed, like trying to get a silhouette shot, and then I changed my mind. I wanted to see how much I can push that dynamic range on this A77 Mark II camera with the Sigma 18 to 35. So I'm shooting at 18 f5.0. My shutter speed is at 100. My ISO is at 100, right? And then I decided to push it a little bit, and my end results were this. Now I'm going to zoom in this photograph so you guys have a better understanding. Like, this is 1:1, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see from the image that it is pretty sharp. Even super underexposed in a silhouette image, I was still able to recover a lot of detail and a lot of shadows. Even though you may see a little bit of grain, that's 1:1 now. Keep that in mind. ISO 100. This is how much I push the dynamic range and the shadows a bit, bring down the highlights to feature the buildings in the background. But if you look at Lincoln's seat or chair, you can see where you can probably see some noise right there, but that's 1:1. That's 1:1 now. Keep that in mind. But look how that glows around his head carefully. It's like a perfect glow, and it's getting this orange and yellow, so you can see how the colors transition off into a darker color, but giving me that glow that I was looking for. But I just wanted to demonstrate. So let's go into this is Badger Day. This is when the Badgers beat the hell out of Michigan 60-0. That was a slaughter. I mean, but anyway, let's go to the micros. So I'm pushing my micro. I'm pushing my ISOs, and I'm using the Tamron SP90. I haven't been using that lens in a while, so I figured that I might as well use the lens to show the capabilities. F3.2, 1/60 of a second, ISO 3200, right? And you can see this noise 1:1, but I realized when I took this photo, I didn't like the photo because there was so much noise, but you can't tell from this point of view. This is fit or filled or fit. You can't tell there's noise because you're thinking, oh wow, that is super clean for ISO 3200. Now, if we were to, let's say, push it just a little bit with this photo here, this is also ISO 3200 at 4 this time, 1/60 of a second. And it's not the sharpest image because I was handling and I was holding an umbrella in my hand because that day was an overcast day It was raining off and on. So I had one hand to work with, but I used a technique. And I showed you guys this technique on my last live stream where I put the camera in one arm as a tripod, holding it up as a harness, and able to get the shot that I need. But let's go into something very more interesting. This image. This is also ISO 3200. You can see this noise pattern. You can see the noise pattern, but would you be able to tell if there's a noise pattern from looking at the image the way it is now without doing one-to-one? And this is where a lot of photographers always say, oh, if you got noise in your image, it's no good. Well, noise brings character to the image. This is just my expertise and my history of a self-taught photographer over the years that ISO brings character to your image. Now, you might not be able to tell if there's noise in the image, but if you were to look at it and say to yourself right now, huh, that's 3200 from the A77 Mark II? That's pretty amazing. The results tell for itself. I can't explain anymore. But like this image, this was shot ISO 3200 at 3.5 1/60th of a second. Now, just to let you guys see, I am using the 10. Oops. Let's go back to this one. Sorry. I am using the Pateron SP90 Generation 2 lens. Mind you, not the first or the second. The Generation 2 is the newer one that looks like the Sigma. But this is the edit version. Now, someone in the comments on Instagram said, this looks like the Brazilian flag. And they're absolutely right. I saw the colors, like they remind me of that Brazilian flag or Brazil's flag. And I was like, I like the colors. If we zoom in one-to-one, you can see there's noise patterns at ISO 3200. But if I was to fit this in as a screen, as you can see now, you wouldn't be able to tell unless you're looking at this background here. You could see some grain, but like I said, grain brings character to the image. And micro photography with a 2.8 lens is not the easiest, especially handheld in one hand. Now this is ISO 250. So look at the background. It's much cleaner than ISO 3200. Much cleaner. And if we were to go down to this area here where try to focus on this with one hand using the single point autofocus. And I'm going to say this right now, the Pateron SP90 will hunt quite a bit when single point, when I had it on AF single point, and I know that you guys are going to probably hear me say this, I like to shoot things manually, but since I only have one hand, it's really hard to manually focus and have two other objects in my hand going to work in the morning. Now, what I like to do in the morning is I leave my place around like 6 o'clock. I will walk around for about an hour and 45 minutes around the city of Madison looking for things to shoot. That's how I get some of my images done. I don't have a plan to go out and shoot. I don't have a plan of location. And I feel that you may take this with a grain of salt, but when you have a plan, you go out shoot, you get kind of lazy. You get to one spot that you was desire to go to, but you end up saying to yourself, now I want to go home and just process this one or two, three images. That's not me. I just continue to walk around Madison. I see things, I take pictures of it, and like for instance, I call this train works. As you can see, the lens is sharp, really sharp. But as I said, this is shot at 1600 ISO at f2.8 at 1/60th of a second. 1/60th of a second is pretty much my sweet spot in most cases. So, but if we were to look at the image before, this is how it would look like before I processed it. And let's reset it. This is how it looked before I did any processing to the image. But this is the end result of this image, trying to grasp that sharpness, that detail is what I'm trying to attract to the audience and making sure that the audience see what I'm actually shooting. And for me, I just don't care about ISO that much. This is ISO 100 f10 1400 of a second. This was also handheld. Like I said, all my shots were handheld, mind you. And this is like kind of like a silhouette shot, but it wasn't meant to. It's actually meant to draw attention to those architecture photographers and getting something symmetrical, but getting something creative in the background. And I just saw these clouds in the sky hovering over the UW school, business school of law on the University Avenue. I just had to take this photo just to emphasize what I'm looking at throughout my day. You may go outside, you may see things differently. This is why I say you should capture anything that you see, no matter what it is. Capture it. Even though it may look bland to you in your camera, but when you start processing these things in Lightroom or Photoshop, you can create something very magical. You just got to take the time and the dedication to do it. Now, same thing with this image. Handheld ISO 400 this time. I'm pushing the ISO now 400 at 4/1/6 of the second. But let me show you what the image looked like before all this was processed. Now I'm going to reset everything, and you can see that I'm using the Pateron SP 90mm second gen. I'm going to reset everything. This is how the image looked when I converted it into, well, actually imported to my computer, right? And this is what it looks like after. So if we could do, let's do this one here. Come on. Why won't it do that? That's weird. I'm dragging it. Oh well, you know what? Who gives a goddamn? Damn Lightroom. You're always doing something. You want to work and then now you don't want to work. I'm confused. But anyway, I'm just trying to emphasize two things here is that ISO, it could be your best friend. ISO is your friend. You just gotta know how to work with ISO. Don't let photographers intimidate you. So you got to keep it under 800. You got to keep it under 400. You got to keep it under 100. Technically, that's when you make bad choices and bad mistakes. And the reason why I'm saying that, I learned that from my own experience, trying to keep things under 4 ISO 400 and realizing that I'm not giving the camera the flexibility to open up, especially when in the diameter range. I'm limiting it and I'm making mistakes when I'm taking photos. So I started to actually change everything around and go back to our old methodology that I used to do, which is let me just leave it at auto ISO and let it take the photo based on what it sees. Now, like this one, this is ISO 3200 f3 3.2. It's not the sharpest because you couldn't tell if you were looking one to one. You can see that handheld, once again, it's not the sharpest, but it's the execution that counts that you have to understand. Like people right now are loving the photos on Facebook, especially on the Photoshop and Lightroom group has over 400,000 followers, and all those followers are saying, "Wow, it's about time you start uploading new stuff, Panda." But I am. So you can see how the colors in the background, if you look at it, it's smooth, but you can see some noise pattern, as you can see. But this is ISO 3200. Now, when I process these out, on my display, it shows me something different from when I'm using a Retina display on an Apple. It doesn't show much noise, but I'm not sure if you guys can absolutely see it, but you can see there's a noise pattern here. But as I said before, the ISO gives images more of a creative look and gives the image a bit of definition when it comes out pushing those ISOs. Like, for instance, let's go back to this photograph again and let me reset it. This is how it looked before. This is how things looked before. And this is how it looked after. So big dramatic difference. And you can see the greens and the reds and the blues and the purples all blended in together, giving some separation between the subject, which is the bee, and the foreground and the background. All that the subject is focused. So that's what I'm looking for. And this one I just edited about 30 minutes ago, right before I left campus office. And you can see how like this one is also shot at ISO 2500 at 4/160th of a second. And you can see how beautiful. And I like how you don't see any stem whatsoever holding these flowers up because it's floating. But in reality, I can trick you with this photo thinking that these two flowers here are floated, but they actually are not floated because the image was actually taken above these flowers, this habitat. Uh, the I forgot what they call it, daisies. Oh, not daisies. Sorry, guys. Oh, it's been a long day. But as I said, ISO can be your best friend. Just gotta work with it. You gotta know how to push your camera and not fear ISO. Don't fear ISO. That's where you're gonna make big mistakes in the future. It's better to learn how to control ISO than not learning how to control ISO. So learn how to control ISO and learn how to work with images. Even though they come out a little bit too noisy, you can still process them and make them look good. So with that said, everyone, I'm the Panda Photographer. If you guys like what you see here, just let me know. Leave a comment down below what you think about ISO. Are you afraid of ISO or are you not afraid of ISO? Because if so, I really would like to hear your thoughts about ISO. And now, mind you, I'm using a crop sensor camera from Sony, which is a mount system, the A77 Mark II. Now, some of you guys are saying, "Oh wow, you're still using A mount. Damn, that's kind of boss." Yes, I'm still using A mount because right now financially I can't spend 2 grand on a camera. Not at this time, no. But when I come across it, I will do a comparison. I do want to get another crop sensor camera, not a full frame maybe, because I feel like full frame. With the Tamron SP90mm micro, I know that chromatic aberrations will be down to a minimum. I noticed there is some chromatic aberrations on crop sensors, especially with the Sony with the translucent mirror that's between, which is actually costing me light. So the light transmission going through my lens is accurate, but once it hits that translucent mirror, it's actually cutting my light down by a stop, which is not ideal. This is why you have a choice to choose cameras based on your own research and your homework, not because you see a photographer that you love have that camera. No, you buy a camera that is suitable for your needs. Don't go broke. Trust me. Take it from me. Don't be like me. But with that said, everyone, I really, really appreciate it. I really do. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the photographs. I hope they have gave you some inspiration. This is done with the Sigma 1835. I hope this gives you some kind of inspiration on how I process my photos through Lightroom and Nik Collection. And from these architecture photos here at ISO 800, not too bad. Not too bad, as you can see. Not too bad. So thank you for showing all your support. I appreciate it. Just subscribe, like, share. You guys want to support what I do as a photographer. You want to support videos like this. Please do support the affiliate links down in the descriptions below. It really does help me out, guys. So with that said, EC Photography, Videography, Repeat. I see you guys in the next one. But wait, I guess I can show you this one last image. I'm going to show you what this image looked like before it turned out to be this. I'm going to show you really quickly. I'm going to reset it. This is what it looked like before. Why I didn't have it in color? I just like the black and white better. And it brings more of the windows out and the details. So just wanted to show you that, guys. Just take care. Go out there and shoot. Just walk around. Do not have a plan. Just walk around and start shooting. And you'd be amazed what kind of results you get when you just go out and just do what you love to do. If you love photography, do it because you love it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.